I got married and then I got pregnant, and sadly that wasn't meant to be. I suppose I went into a world of, I don't feel comfortable sharing it because it hurts so much. If I do, it's going to explode out of me, and keeping it inside just contains it and allows me to kind of carry on with life. And to experience that really changed who I was and who I am really. Not many people know that that experience happened to me. It took a long time to kind of come from a broken person to whole again. There are so many women, they've gone through pain as well and don't speak about it. Because I know how life has been a journey to this point, I'm just wanting to now just kind of push myself into a new journey. The drive to sort of create your own business comes from somewhere quite deep. If you'd have said to me 2 years ago, well, you're going to go to Paris Fashion Week, you're going to go to London Fashion Week, I'd say, no, that's, what?
If I was ever coaching somebody and they shared that story with me, what are the 1 or 2 things that you could advise me as a coach or somebody else listening to this? What would you say to them that could just help them on that journey?
I'm a designer by trade. My first job I was headhunted and went straight into a very traditional factory where they made high-end home accessories for Harrods and Selfridges, and so I was kind of thrown into this environment, but it gave me a real taste for adventure. I got to go to Paris and set up trade fairs, went to some catwalks, worked with a guy called John Moore, who at the time was the senior designer at Hardy Amy's. It used to be a very high brand tailor who tailored for the Queen, so I got to see where she was dressed, and it was an amazing experience at 23. And my first sort of experience just fed my sort of thirst for creativity and wanting to pursue that, and I was very driven, very driven. Typical kind of, I don't want children, I don't want to get married, I want to just be a designer, and that was it. Sort of times changed, and I got married, I started to settle down, and then I got pregnant with my first child, and sadly that wasn't meant to be. So that was the kind of turning point for me personally, in terms of how life suddenly changes, and the path that you think you're on as a sort of driven career woman suddenly changed, and we lost our baby at 20 weeks. And to experience that really changed who I was and who I am really. It changed me. Going through an experience like that makes you aware of being a human and actually what being a human means. So you go from being very driven, everything's kind of materialistic in a way, to suddenly realising that you're a person and a human and a creature, and you're made up of everything around you. When I look back, I think it was such a terrible time. Not many people know that experience happened to me, because at the time I kept it quite quiet and secret, and didn't really want to share, because it's a very personal, emotional experience, and you feel very alone, or I felt very alone. But it took a long time to kind of come from a broken person to whole again. But I built myself up differently. I thankfully went on to have 3 children, so I was very lucky. But because I'd had such a loss and it affected me very kind of deeply, as it probably does most people, it made me realise that actually I want to be a mum, and I wanted to be there for my children and to put everything I knew on hold. It didn't matter. All that mattered was that I could hold my baby and sort of watch their experiences, and that became a real driving force. So that was sort of 18 years ago, so that's quite a while, but and the drive to sort of create your own business comes from somewhere quite deep. So TATU was born out of really thinking, right, my children are a good age now, maybe I can just explore being creative again.
You've shared a lot in that one, so thank you first of all for being so very, very open and honest and sharing information and a personal story that, as you said, not many people know about you. How did you manage to not talk about what had happened to you? Were there just not times where there might have been just that moment of, oh, maybe I can share this with someone, but something stops you? Like, what was stopping you, and why?
I suppose I went into a world of, I don't know if this has happened to anyone else. I don't feel comfortable sharing it because it hurts so much. If I do, it's going to explode out of me, and keeping it inside just contains it and allows me to kind of carry on with life. It's difficult because you can't easily go up to another woman and say, have you had any experiences that I can relate to that will make me feel better? Because everybody keeps it in that I've spoken to before. Everyone kind of keeps that experience in, and there are so many women that I've found out since, having spoken to mums at school, for example, on the schoolroom, that you realise, oh my God, they've gone through pain as well, and so many women go through it and don't speak about it. And I think there's probably two things: easier to keep it down, keep it inside, and also, how do you start to talk about something like that?
Stories like this are so important to share. So if you press like on this video, then more people will discover it. How did it affect you and your husband? Because I think, marriage is a very hard task to live anyway. But when the two of you were also grieving, and you're grieving and keeping that between the two of you, that must have been quite difficult too.
Very difficult. My husband, because of course he went through it too, I think kind of forget that men are quiet, and they just get on. And my husband, he was the one who saved me. He was the one who kept me going. He was stronger than I ever knew. And so really, having gone through that experience, I realised that actually I respected him so much more, and he respected me too. So our relationship just got stronger. Thankfully, it could very easily have gone another way. It could have been too hard to bear, but it didn't. It was stronger, and we share an experience that is profound and very human, which isn't something that everybody gets to experience, and it's something that has stayed with me and probably my husband forever. So
if a child is no longer with you anymore, at what point did you make the decision to have another child, and how did you feel?
As soon as I possibly could, because the whole experience of losing, I didn't think that I would. I didn't know how I was going to feel, because I wasn't expecting that to happen. No, nobody does, and it's a great shock. But the whole process just, I kind of flipped from being a very career-driven woman, knowing exactly what I wanted to do, to suddenly having an experience which is shocking and deeply sad. And I just knew that that was my calling. That's what I needed to be complete, and nothing was going to stop me. So my sort of ambition to be successful in business flipped to wanting to be the best mum that I could be, and it was totally unexpected. But as soon as I possibly could, I wanted to have another child, and it was hard because we had other things happen to us as well, within sort of miscarriage and other loss, which was again unexpected. So it's been the kind of a battle.
Wow.
But at each turn, it's made me more determined.
What you've done is, as you say, you flipped it. You've used that resilience, that strength. You know, the ambition that you had to be a career woman was like, no, I'm going to take all of that fight in me and say, no, I'm going to carry on. And this is what I want to do now. This is what I want to create. This is who I want to be at this stage in my life. And that's okay, because I think a lot of people would be, you know, do I leave my career behind? What am I going to do? You know, and then carrying this experience with you. And as you said, you had more sort of challenges and sadness to then keep on that determination.
But I couldn't do it without my husband as well, because he thankfully he recognised in me what I needed to do and supported it and wanted the same as well as me.
So with that image in mind, describe Katie growing up.
I guess my mum was a really sort of key personality in obviously in growing up. Mums are, and she had a rebellious streak. She still does, but I think probably more so then. And her best friend, who was my Auntie Pat, she was a London girl. She worked as a PA for a big company in America, and she used to go off to Dallas. And I used to think, oh, that's a bit like Dynasty, and it's a bit sort of like, oh, I love that. And so my mum introduced me to my Auntie Pat, and their sort of little life that they would share when they met up, and they'd have such fun, and they'd smoke and they'd drink, and I'd think, oh, that is so cool, being an 80s child. And I think I just thought, I want to do that. I want to be a strong woman like my mum, like my Auntie Pat. My nana was a very strong woman, and my grandma, very, very, very strong women. Yeah. And I think they inspired me, probably, if I really thought about it.
If you know someone who could benefit from this episode by listening to Katie's story, share it with them. And so what are your girls like? Are they similar to you? Do they have that tenacity and drive and determination?
Yeah, I think so. I've got a 17-year-old who's about to go to university, and I suppose I'm at the stage where lots of mums are, where they don't really want them to go off, but know that if your child wants to go, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
You can set them free. And so I know I'm at that stage next year, and I'm terrified, but it's okay, because I know I've done my best. And so, but she just wants an adventure. I keep saying, oh, just go to Leeds. You can stay at home and just go to Leeds University. And she said, no, I'm ready. I want an adventure. So that's rewarding. And my 14-year-old, she is a surprise all the time. She just suddenly comes out with they're all creative, so she'll do little things that I wouldn't even know she knew how to do. She'll watch how to do crochet on YouTube. Everything's YouTube, of course, and Pinterest and etc. So she's like a little dynamo. She just does something and she doesn't stop until she's finished. And my youngest daughter she's 8, and she knows exactly what she wants to do. She wants to be an actress, and she wants to be on stage. She's just started drama classes, and she said, where are my lines? What lines do I need? And I said, you just play games. It's just, you're all 8. She's ready.
I think what sounds beautiful for me is, you know, that you are allowing your kids to be who they are. And I think in today's world, It's a lot about letting our kids explore themselves and be who they are, be creative or wacky or crazy or whatever it is, but giving them that belief in themselves, which sounds like your Auntie Pat did and your mum did with you. Um, and you were obviously a firecracker and wanted to live this amazing life. Do you think that, and if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to, do you think that because you have felt that utter emptiness, do you think that has affected you with your eldest going off to uni? Do you think there are connecting feelings there, or is it just the emptiness syndrome that we talk about?
It's just the emptiness.
Yeah.
It's, oh damn, she's going now. I just needed a bit longer.
Yeah.
No, it's not connected at all. I have made sure with all of my children that, and it has been a journey as a parent, because you don't know what you're doing at first. Your eldest one is always the guinea pig, and so I always apologise to her and say, I'm sorry, I'm doing this, but I'm a mum and I need to ask you this, and you're the guinea pig. So, and she's fine, but I've tried very hard to separate my grief from actually being a mum.
Wow.
Which has been a journey in itself, because it's been, at the early stages when they're so little and just a few weeks old, there was part of me that thought, am I going to lose her? Is something going to happen? And but I managed to not let that spiral. And my husband as well is amazing. Because I know how life has been a journey to this point, I'm just wanting to now just kind of push myself into a new journey.
You should be so proud of yours, honestly, because I just listening to this, I've had a lot of help dealing with my own personal challenges throughout my life, and for you to have kept that and to have it between you and your husband and go on and be that brave person to say, no, this is not going to get in my way of having a family, and this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to allow my emotions to impact the relationships I now have with my children.
It's complicated, isn't it? There's a lot of sort of parts of the jigsaw that make it a story, and it's not been easy. It's my mind is always very busy, and being a creative person, I see so much and process so much information just because that's how my brain works. And so it hasn't been an easy process at all. It's, the early years, it was a kind of constant coaching myself. And just sort of, my parents were amazing. My dad and my mum. My dad's very, very, he was in HR, and so he's very good at kind of making things logic. And so his voice inside me was always, make it logic, just step back, look at your situation. And my mum as well, just I've been really lucky, but I know, having sort of spoken to a few people before about this, that it can easily go the other way. And I'm grateful that it's been a journey, though. It's an adventure and a journey, and I think I take that element of, because I know how life has been a journey to this point, I'm just wanting to now just kind of push myself into a new journey.
Yeah. Why do you feel now, obviously I'm the first person that because I asked you if you've been on a podcast before, and when we initially spoke, it was about TATU, it wasn't about your story. I didn't know. Why have you decided now is the time that you want to talk about it?
I think that it's a good time to talk about it. If I've stepped, as my dad would say, step back. I've stepped back far enough now to be able to not how can I say it? I suppose to want to give my experience to other people that might help, because I think if I had, all those 18 years ago, if I'd been given an opportunity to sort of witness someone else who'd gone through it, it might have just helped a little bit. And so my thoughts were, I'm approaching a certain age, and I want to be able, if I can help one person who sees this, then that's another kind of tick in the box of being a human. Because it's really important, that whole just nature, be one with earth, appreciate what you've got. And I think you do that at a certain age, where you've become the person that you step back from and look at what you've done and achieved. And so it's really important to me to think, yeah, if I'd had that one person that I could just tune into and see and think, oh, they've gone through it too, I don't feel so lonely. I don't feel so on my own.
If I was ever coaching somebody and they shared that story with me, what are the one or two things that you could advise me as a coach or somebody else listening to this episode, that what would you say to them that could just help them on that journey?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I would probably just say, tell the person it's okay. It's okay to grieve. It's natural. It's normal. And there's processes and methods that you can kind of, or there's processes of grief, aren't there, that you go through, and stages. I would say allow it to happen and embrace it. Don't shut it out. Let it happen. It's part of how you're going to get over it, because ultimately you're going to live with it, but you want to get through it so that it doesn't hurt, because the pain is pain. It hurts. And so just allow yourself to breathe in and out. Go for a walk, just one step in front of the other, very tiny steps, and eventually just know that it will be okay. It will be okay. And I think if you can see that you've got a journey to go through to get to the end, and it will be okay, light at the end of the tunnel, then accept it. And accepting things is, if you don't accept it, it's a struggle. If you just take it and accept, and you can deal with it then and help yourself.
The business is called TATU. Can you explain exactly what TATU is?
So TATU is a fashion accessory brand, and we create dermatologically tested tattoos, which are temporary. They last for about 5 to 7 days. They're designed by designers around the world. So we work with people from the UK, Italy, America, Mexico, everywhere, all over the world. And these designers who are established in their own right as well, basically design a tattoo based on a brief that I will give them, send it back. So it's all digital, it's all very easy over the phone, emails, and we get the designs and then we get them manufactured.
We will put your link in the show notes, so anybody who's interested in finding out about you will be able to find you in that link. Are you inspired through the experiences that you've been through, the designs that you create?
Oh, it's an adventure in itself. I mean, this is probably the second full year since it was created, and it's a great journey. I mean, I don't know where this is going. It was just meant to be kind of me doing something on Etsy, and then I realised actually me doing anything isn't going to be just Etsy. So it turned into this big machine that I thought, well, let's just saying yes to everything, trying anything, being adventurous. You're on an adventure, you're on a journey anyway in life. It's just one big journey. And I just thought I can use my skills, my design skills, I can use my skills kind of communicating and collaborating, because that's what I did before. When I was at my last sort of corporate job, it was very much briefing designers, speaking to designers on the phone and in the studio. And I just thought, well, what's good? What's a good product? Because that's my background, product design. What's a good product that I can post? And I thought, it's got to be flat. I'm not going to do greetings cards because everybody does those. And I thought, looking into the sort of tattoo industry, it was booming, and there's a lot of projection for growth. So it was also me doing it was about a year of research, finding what product I could develop to then try and make a success of. And it happened to be temporary tattoos. It's not because I love tattoos and I'm tattooed all over. I'm not. I do have one tattoo, but that was a regret. And I thought,
Can I ask what it is? Sorry.
it's a tulip.
Okay, but why a regret?
Well, my children, I think, when I was in my swimming costume on holiday, they said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's a tattoo." And they said, "Is it real?" And I said, "Yes." And then I thought, I don't want them to do that either. And I wanted to flip it so that what I like to do is to take an idea and make it different. I really like things that are different and unique. And I thought, well, I like tattoos, and I've seen loads of kids wearing these fake tattoos, but I haven't really seen grown-ups wearing fake tattoos. So I've seen a few companies that do it, but I'd really like to explore that. But instead of making it sort of like dragons and spread eagles and things like that, I'd like to make it beautifying. Yeah. So I wanted it to be more fashion, accessory, cosmetic, because they're dermatology tested, made in Barcelona, really high quality. And I thought, I'd like to see them on the catwalk, but that was just a dream. That was just me being creative and thinking in my own head, oh, that would be nice. And nothing happened, but actually it started to happen. So yeah, it's taking something very simple, easy to post, and just making it really fashionable and different.
I bloody love it. I think I can see you are going to be on magazines. I definitely can see this blowing up.
Yeah, we've had a lot of, we're going into catwalks. We just, last week, entered a competition for Paris Fashion Week, for the Ones to Watch, it's called, and it's a big American brand called Flying Solo, and we won as an accessory brand to go into the catwalk in Paris. So we're just finding out whether we're going to have the opportunity to do it with time-wise, but that's March next year. We're doing London Fashion Week. You know, they're really easy to apply, typical kind of transfer with water. If you really hate it, you can take it off quite easily. If you want to keep it, you look after it and it stays on for a week. So there's no risk, it's just fun.
Yeah. And actually my cousin, I remember, she'll probably hate me for talking about this, but whenever we go on holiday, we always go to her, and she has her bag, and she has tattoos with her all the time. And I had some henna. She was like, right, which ones do you like for this summer? So actually thinking now in my head, I just think, yeah, it's a really good fashion accessory when you're going on holiday. You know, you want to feel a little bit different, you want to have fun. And I think sometimes also as women, we get a little bit concerned about A, how we look on holiday, B, you know, that we're a bit concerned, especially as mums, like, oh gosh, you know, what are our kids going to be like? If we actually dress ourselves up with that and give ourselves a bit of fun, inside we're going to feel not that anxiety and anticipation about going away, but hey, we're now going on holiday, we can put our tattoos on and go out there and have fun.
It's definitely a fun product, and yeah, I who knows where it's going. If you'd have said to me 2 years ago, when I was sort of sat trying to work out who I was going to get as a supplier and was it going to take off, what's going to happen, and then you said, well, you're going to go to Paris Fashion Week, you're going to go to London Fashion Week, I'd say, no, that's what are you talking about? So it's taking on its own life almost. It's developing into its own thing, and I'm just going along with it just because I'm having fun, and that's a massive part of it as well.
If you've been thinking about a challenge or a change that you are going through at the moment that you want to make in your life, it could be starting a new love relationship or building a bigger community of friends around you. What if it's a career change or just a dream or an idea that you've got that you really want to make and create into a reality? So I created a 3-minute completely free quiz for you to take. The quiz will uncover your character trait, because we all have traits that we carry that actually prevent us from moving forward, from making that change, from working through that challenge. Once you've taken the quiz, you will have access to a completely complimentary resource workbook to give you actionable tools, tips, and practices that you can work through at home, and that they're really easy steps that you can bring into your everyday life. And I'm offering a 30-minute complimentary call to anybody who is working through that workbook, so you can then move forward into the next era of your life. So click on the link below and you will have access to my completely complimentary downloadable workbook today. Looking back on your story, and I think this is so important for women to understand, you've had a career, and just because you've given up your career to have a family, you can get back into the zone that you were in pre-children. You know, you're still there. The person's still there. You've just built on who you are, and you've now got more to give. And I think it's so important that as women sort of, you know, in midlife, or actually any woman that wants a change of direction, and the one thing that you said to me was, you're having fun and I'm just letting it take me where it goes. Sometimes we try too hard and then we end up sabotaging what's going on because we want something so badly. But if we actually go with it, use our creativity or whatever our passion is, and let that lead the way, rather than it being, I've got to get here, I've got to make X amount of money, I need to be on the catwalk. You've just gone, let the universe do its thing, hey, and I'm along for the ride. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible story. I'm so honoured to have gotten to know you.